This video is brought to you by the Farmer Klein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another Farming Simulator 22 map first impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at Simple Midwest 4X. But before that, this video is brought to you by Paul Nadon Jr. and Squiggy486. Thank you for being farm barons. So the Simple Midwest 4X map we found it with the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu, and as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for PC players only. Let me read you some of the description. This is a 4X Midwest map with huge fields that you should actually see in the Midwest. Keeping the map simple with one farm, fewer fields, and mostly just base game sell points, you'll be able to buy all the land, including roads, so you'll be able to landscape fully. Snow will fall on the gravel roads, so you'll have something to do in the winter if you like. All production points should also be sellable and able to be customized with the map for yourself. This map includes one farm with cows, pigs, sheep, horses, chickens, and bees, 26 fields, 10 production points, 11 sell points, 3 lime stations, farmers co-op with fertilizer, chemical, and seed production, 2 workshops, 3 gas stations, a methane station, electrical charging station, 15 empty lots to purchase around the edge of the map, 2 empty lots for purchase in town, and a biogas plant. Now, in addition to that, this map is multi-fruit with the addition of alfalfa, hops, lavender, millet, onion, poppy, rye, spelt, triticale, white, and red cabbage. Now, we'll tell you that this map does have some required mods. Those required mods include the Crop Inputs Cooperative, the John Deere Dealer Sign, the Monette Workshop, Pumping Wind Turbine, Ranch House, Red Barn Pack, and Wooden Barn. So in addition to those required mods, you're also going to be making use of additional field info, additional game settings, ammo food overview, field lease, field calculator, precision farming, and straw harvest. Now, we'll tell you, if you load this map up in Farm Manager mode or start from scratch, you'll find that the farm is built out exactly how you see it here in New Farm mode, with the exception you do not have any starting machinery. In addition, you will also have to buy the land in order to make use of the buildings that are pre-placed. Lastly, if you are playing this on a system with low-end graphics, we'll tell you shouldn't have any issues with respect to maintaining a good solid 60 frames per second, as that is what I was able to easily obtain when I loaded this map up on a system with integrated graphics. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA. And one thing you're going to notice is that this map is predominantly fields. We do have our starting farm here, which is in kind of the center east of the map, but beyond that, the vast majority of this map is going to be concentrated in fields, and the sell points are going to be shoved off, for the most part, to the exterior parts of the map. We do have all the standard crops available to us in FS22 on this map. In addition, we have, as I mentioned earlier, rye, spelt, triticale, millet, alfalfa, onion, hops, lavender, poppy, red cabbage, and white cabbage. Then lastly, if you do own the premium expansion, you will have red beets and carrots, as well as parsnips, all the way over here on page 3. Take a look at our farmland screen. You will see that we do have farmland ID 1, which is the main starting farm. That can be bought for $1.7 million in any alternate game mode. Now, given the fact that this is going to cost so much money, I highly recommend loading this map up in New Farmer mode because of the fact that you already own Farmland ID 1 at the start. In addition, you own Farmland ID 5, which is Field 18 at the start, and that can be bought for $561,000. In addition to that, we do have a biogas plant that is available on the map that is down here in the lower southeast corner. It is buyable, but you will need to basically purchase the BGA itself, and then you will own the land that the BGA is on. Let's go ahead and take a look at our farmland lease screen. This is going to show us all of the viable farmlands, how large those farmlands are, if those farmlands include any field, what fields are included. Then lastly, how much is that farmland going to cost us? As you can see, the farmland that had the fields is very, very expensive. Let's go and take a look at our field calculator screen. This is going to show us the specific sizes of each particular field. Note field 6 is 184 hectares in size. Field 23 is 153 hectares in size. Field 24 is 72.66. So lots of large fields on this map. Let's go and take a look at our precision farming soil map because we have a rather unique soil map being applied to these fields. As you can see, the entirety of the map is loamy sand. We do have a custom crop counter here on this particular map. And if we take a look, we do have growth schedules for rye, spelt, triticale, millet, alfalfa, onion, hops, lavender, poppy, red, and white cabbage. Take a look down through our prices screen. We do indeed have the ability to sell all of the base game crops that are available to us in FS22. In addition, we do have the ability to sell our eggs, wool, and milk, and our silage, hay, straw, and grass. As we continue down through all of our base game production items, we do not have the ability to sell chocolate. Oddly enough, that is basically the only base game production item that we cannot sell. In addition, we do have the ability to buy bulk lime, and we do have the ability of getting rid of our stones. Now, with respect to the additional crops on this map, there are two things that I do want to point out. For whatever reason, we do not have sell points for alfalfa or alfalfa windrow. And then we also do not have sell points for lavender. Now, one thing I did check, and we will be looking at this here in a little bit, is to see if alfalfa may be used as an animal feed on this map, and that is also not the case. So I'm not really sure what we're supposed to do with alfalfa if we do not have the ability to sell it, as well as the same thing with respect to lavender. If you do have the farm production pack, do note you will need to put down a sell point to sell your washed vegetables. In addition, if you are going to be using the Platinum expansion productions, well, you will need to put down your sell point for those as well. But rest assured, if you are playing with the premium expansion, you will be able to sell your crops and your production items without any issue whatsoever. If you are playing with straw harvest, also note you will be able to sell your hay and straw pellets. And if you are playing with pumps and hoses, we do have the ability of getting rid of our separated manure. Taking a look at our vehicle overview screen, we own all of our starting machinery. None of it is leased. We do have, as I said earlier, sheep, pigs, cows, chickens, and horses at the main starting farm, but we do not actually start with any animals. We do have contracts available. And look, we do have some custom AI farmer graphics there as well. That's pretty cool. We do have productions on this map, but we do not own any productions at the start. And this map does not include any any collectibles. Let's go ahead and take a look at our starting fleet. We start out with the Massey Ferguson 7S210 medium tractor, the John Deere 4755. Well, we've got a pair of those as well. We've got the John Deere 8RX310, 8R340, and 7R350 large tractors. We've got the Kloss Tryon 750 harvester that is paired up with the ComboFlex 1080 grain header and the Nardi N6035 header trailer. We have the Kloss Karat 140 TD trailers, a pair of those. We have the Carino 875 FC corn header for our harvester, and do note that that is also going to work with hops. We have the PW 112 plow, the K12 200 cultivator, the Lemken Saltar 12 seeder, the Kinsey 365 blue drive planter. We have the Navigator 4000 Delta Force sprayer for herbicide and liquid fertilizer, and oddly enough, anhydrous ammonia. Don't be aerating anhydrous ammonia, people. That needs to be put directly into the ground. We also have the Bredal K105 lime and solid fertilizer spreader. And we have the John Deere 1150 front weight. With respect to mods and DLCs, this map does not have any custom vehicles or implements, but of course we do have the Crop Inputs Cooperative, which does have pallets of herbicide and liquid fertilizer available in the shop. Let's take a quick look around the farm here. We do start out with a custom farmhouse. Come in the side door, we will have our sleep trigger. And if we come over here to the other side of the house, we have our wardrobe trigger here in the bathroom. Let's make our way to the right of the starting farmhouse. This is where we're going to find all of our machine sheds. And then to the left of the farmhouse is where we're going to find all our animals. Now, with respect to customizing the farm here, well, you can sell everything with the exception of this garden shed. This garden shed cannot be sold, so it is going to be permanently a part of the map. We have a charging station, as well as a nice 6-bay garage. A couple large sheds for our implements. This particular building also has a workshop trigger within it right there. Then we have a couple smaller sheds here, which are basically deco items. And then across the street, we have our animal areas. First animal we're going to take a look at here is the horses. We'll hold 16 horses in this particular facility. So we have our animal drop-off. And inside we have our food trough, as well as our straw trigger. We then have our cow barn. So here we have our slurry point. We have our food trough here, and then we have our straw trigger over on the side. We have our cow drop-off point. 500 cows in total. You have a water trough located right there. Around the back, we have our milk point. We have a manure heap. And then around the front and up on top of the barn, we have bale storage for 300 bales or pallets. Over here we have a hayloft. So we have our dump point for a hayloft. And inside we have our fill trigger for that same hayloft. Here we have a silo that is also 200 bales of storage. So we're going to store our bales here in the barn part of the silo. We have our activation there to unload the bales. Then we have our dump and fill point here for our silo. Fuel storage. Here we have our chicken coop. 500 chickens in total. We have our egg spawn point, and then we have our food trough. Over here we have our pigs. So we have our food troughs. We have our pig drop-off point. 150 total pigs available. And then we have our slurry point here on the side. And then lastly, we have our sheep. So we have our wool spawn point. We have our food trough. And then we have 75 sheep also available here. While we're at it, let's go ahead and take a look at our animal food requirements. And you will see that we pretty much have our standard food requirements here. I quite frankly was honestly expecting to see alfalfa listed here as a food source. Since we do not have the ability of selling it, I thought for sure it would be listed here as a food source all by itself. But that is not the case. We've got very standard food requirements available on this map. Now, I do want to go down through the productions that are available in this map, because while most of these productions are fairly standard, there are a few changes that I do want to point out. So we have a bakery, carpentry, oil mill, spinnery, cereal factory, grape processor, and sugar mill. They are all fairly standard. We have a grain mill that has been modified to also take rye, spelt, millet, and triticale and convert those into flour. Got a fairly standard dairy and Taylor. Our lime production is going to take stones and produce lime. We then have our chemical shed that is going to produce herbicide and liquid fertilizer, basically with 0 inputs. So as you can see, 0 input is going to net you 20,000 liters of herbicide, and 0 input is going to net you 20,000 liters of liquid fertilizer. In order to make use of this, all you have to do is buy this particular building. In addition, we also have a seed source here where 0 seeds is going to produce 20,000 seeds. In fact, we already have 1,296 seeds produced. Again, you're just going to have to buy the seed factory in order to basically have an endless supply of seed. Then we have a fairly standard biogas plant as well. Let's get a little bit of altitude and take a little bit of a look around. Now, something else that is permanently a part of this map here at the starting farm, and that is the light poles that you see on this side of the farm, scattered around the various animal areas, hayloft, silos, and such. So we are going to be giving this map a score of 0.75 with respect to can the farms be customizable. While we can delete most of the buildings, minus the garden shed and the light poles, there are a few things that are going to be remaining, and therefore we cannot give the map a full point. Let's go ahead and make our way over here to the east, and then we'll just kind of go in a clockwise direction around the map. Over here by this water source, we do have a water fill point. With respect to our scoring system, as I said, we have 14 productions built into the map. Now, the description says 10 productions, but we actually have 14 because we have the bakery, carpentry, oil mill, spinnery, cereal factory, grape processor, sugar mill, grain mill, the dairy, the Taylor, lime production. We have liquid fertilizer and herbicide production, seed production, and the biogas plant. Over here on the far east part of the map, we do have our dairy. We have our active icon, we have our spawn point and our dump point. We also have a maintenance building over here. That is also going to be a fuel point. We have our grape processor, so we have our pallet, interactive icon, and dump point. We have our cereal factory with our dump point, pallet point, and interactive point around the back. Then we have our sugar mill with our dump point around the back, interactive icon, and pallet point around the front. We do have some viable plots of land here. You will need to clear the trees in order to make use of that. We have our grain mill, interactive point, dump point, and pallet spawn point. This is going to be a sell point. As well as our animal dealer. Then we have another sell point over here. It is listed as the livestock forage disaster program sell point. As you can see, we do not have a completely flat map here. We do have some rolling hills on these fields. So with respect to your machinery and the power of your machinery, I would suggest paying attention to how many horsepower your machinery is going to require, and maybe trying to match that, if not exceed that, with the tractor that you are going to be using to pull that machinery, because we do have some fields with some hills to climb. We're here between fields 24 and 25 and 26. We're going to find a small sell point. Sorry, I misspoke. It is not a sell point. That is going to be a water fill point. Let's make our way over here to the biogas plant. And we have poppies down here below. Nice red crop. We have our lime buy station, as well as one of our stone sell points down here. We have the BGA, and I will tell you that I did buy the BGA, and I was successful in selling not only the biogas plant, but the buildings and the methane pumping station that is down here in the lower southeast corner. So if you are looking to completely customize your biogas plant, you will be able to do that here on the map. Now, with respect to being able to sell and all of the base game crops, animal outputs, and production points on this map, since we are lacking the ability of selling our chocolate, we will need to deduct some points there. So we are going to be giving the map 0.75 with respect to the ability to sell all of our base game items. Now, while we did not deduct any points, I do once again want to point out that for whatever reason, we're not able to sell lavender or alfalfa windrow on this map. Buildings where appropriate are using the new texturing technique. Yes, they are. I do believe that they are, and therefore we are going to be giving the map a full point there as well. Now, all of this land that we have passed on our way over here to this central grain sell point is buyable. You can make use of that once you clear the land a little bit of those deco trees. So we have our dump point there. And we'll just continue on making our way across the southern part of the map. A quick look to the north. Give you a little bit of a sense for how these fields are laid out, or elevation. Now, there's an interesting note in the description. It says that initially the map author was working on this map, and it sounds like he planned to release it on console, got most of the way there with this, and then he realized that console players do not have the ability of basically working with 4X maps, and therefore he then went and released a standard size variant of this for all platforms. That release was a few months ago, and now we have the 4X variant for PC players themselves. So we have another water fill point down here in the southwest corner at this little town. We have our farmer's market sell point. We have our tailor, our carpentry, our bakery. We have a restaurant. We have a grocery, Mama Joe's Diner, another maintenance building, our bowling alley, appears to be just a bowling alley this time, with a charging station. And then we have a spinnery as well, down here in the southwest corner. We continue to make our way up the western side of the map. We again have more buyable land here on the fringe. And one thing I would like to see is a bit more detail here at the distance scenery. We've seen lots of maps recently that have very, very well done distance scenery, which really makes things stand out. We have maps that have what I would almost describe as poor distance scenery. Not to be too brutal with my opinion, but you know, it's not all there. It's pretty low res and not super detailed. Here we have our biomass heating plant sell point. We're going to be able to bring logs and wood chips. We have our oil mill, so we have our interactive icon around the back. Pallet spawn point and fill point there. We have another sell point for our farmer's market. And we have our dealership. So, interesting enough, we have 2 dealer maintenance triggers. One located outside and then one located inside. And then we have our vehicle buy point trigger. And our vehicles are going to spawn in this large gravel area, this side of the dealership. This is going to be our lime production. So we have our lime output, our interactive icon, and our dump point for our stones. Let's go ahead and just kind of cut across the fields here. Here we have fields 1, 2, and 3. Now, if these fields were not big enough, they do appear to be fairly easily merged together as well. So you just go with a mega field if you wanted to. And this is going to be our last stop up here in the north kind of corner, not really north corner, but in the northwestern side of the map. And this is where we're going to find our seed. We're going to find our liquid fertilizer and herbicide production. In fact, right here we already have pallets of fertilizer and herbicide that are spawning. Again, you do need to buy this before it starts to work. Here we have our seed facility to draw bulk seed out. Oh, sorry, I misspoke. This is our seed facility, and this facility is going to produce seeds in these Pioneer totes. There we have our seed production. Let's make our way over here again. This is going to be our herbicide or chemical shed. And I'll be honest, I really don't know what this one is. Let's see what it says here at the hotspot. It says the fertilizer shed. All right, so we have liquid fertilizer and herbicide over here. And then this is ultimately going to be producing solid fertilizer. So with respect to our final scoring metric of player and interactive areas being clearly marked, We're going to give the map a full point there as well. So that's going to wrap this map up with a score of 4.5 out of 5. I'd love to know your all's thoughts down in the comments below with respect to Simple Midwest 4X. Did you play on the standard size variant of Simple Midwest? And are you looking forward to putting some time in here on the 4X variant if you are a PC player? And until next time, happy farming.